For what it seems to have been a lot of years, Hollywood has had a crisis for movie stars. But for the likes of it, it seems that with Marty Supreme, things are changing. And everything has to do with the man of the hour, Timotheé Chalamet. So is he Hollywood's new salvation? Is he Hollywood's new big movie star? Let's talk about it.
It's only a matter of time before I'm staring at you from the cover of a Wheaties box. I have a purpose. And if you think that's some sort of blessing, it's not. It means I have an obligation to see a very specific thing through. And with that obligation comes sacrifice. You think it's that simple?
Yeah, I do.
Hello you guys, how we doing? So as you may have seen from my last video, I really liked Marty Supreme. I love the acting, I love the movie itself, I love the story, and I love the experience of being able to watch it on theaters. And the thing interesting about this movie not only is its whole concept, its whole form, but rather it is its success. Because Marty Supreme has managed to become the highest grossing A24 movie, which is honestly something good because A24 normally it's not gross that well unless like for Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Materialists, and Civil War, but in general they don't have great distribution. But around this movie Marty Supreme there was a lot of hype, there was a lot of marketing, and it all came from the hand of Timothée Chalamet, and that's why we're going to discuss this thing. But before we start diving more into that, I would love to invite you to subscribe to this channel. I love movies, so if you love movies, come here. It's the channel for you because I try to make weekly film content. So guys, Timothée Chalamet, ever since his career started, has been a very interesting figure to follow. Of course, he started in Interstellar, Christopher Nolan's movie, but of course, he didn't have that much of a prominent role there. We say that, like he was not that important. It was until Call Me By Your Name, a movie that I have not seen. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for not seeing that beautiful movie, guys. I had it postponing it a lot. And it's, of course, one of my favorite directors. Like, Guillermo, I really love his stuff, as you may have seen from my videos. So why have not I seen the movie? That is a great question. The point is, his career immediately succeeded and went on superstardom the moment he appeared in that movie in Call Me By Your Name. Because, of course, that movie is the one that nominated, or well, the movie that earned my GOAT nomination to the Oscar. And he also appeared on Lady Bird the same year, I think. In general, just showing to the world what this young man had to give. And he was surrounded by a huge star-studded field at the Best Actor nominations. And his career just right there started to catapult a lot. I started when I was younger at that time, of course I was younger. I'm 19 now, so at that time I was like, so I was like 10, but like by the time I was in junior high school, which is 2018, I started hearing about this guy called Timothée Chalamet. Who the hell is Timothée Chalamet? Why all the girls in my class are having a crush on this guy? Then I, of course, learned a little bit more about it, and it was until Dune, for me, like my experience, and that I finally met more of Timothée Chalamet. I finally saw him. I was hearing about him until I finally saw him in a movie because I had not seen Lady Bird, I had not seen Beautiful Boy, I had not seen Call Me By Your Name or The French Dispatch or any of those because I was just, you know, a little kid. So as a little kid I went to watch Dune and I really liked it. I love Dune movies. And I started to become a Timothée Chalamet fan. I really liked his job. All this madness for him started to decrease, thankfully, with all this celebrity crush things. And it was that time that I started to connect with movies a little bit more. Decided that I wanted to make that as a living. Of course, I have always known that I wanted to do movies forever, but this time I was starting to dive more into my cinematic journey of learning. So then I watched Wonka, a movie that I personally love. I think it's a Christmas classic, guys. Wonka is so good. I really love it, and I watched it because of Timothée Chalamet himself. And I went to watch it with my mom, and I really liked it. And you know, I think here is where the stardom starts to show up for him. You know, like his origins start at Beautiful Boy, at Call Me By Your Name, of course, and Lady Bird and Little Women, which is a movie that I also love. But officially, this image of blockbuster-ish type of things for Timothée Chalamet officially come to fruition in June in 2021, and Don't Look Up in the same year, and of course Timothée Chalamet movie Wonka did very successfully, and I think that people like me at least went to watch it just because of him. And I think that's the moment that things start to change, the moment he starts to show up in these big event things, and not only do I, but other people start to recognize him. And of course this keeps growing and growing and spreading. Then comes Doom Part 2, that is a bigger success than Doom Part 1. And then comes a Complete Unknown that earns him a Oscar nomination too. And of course this whole movie, of course, carried by Bob Dylan, but also by Timothée Chalamet's performance, everything. Everyone's hearing about it, everybody rumbling about it, wanting to watch it because it's him. And that's when I realized that Timothée Chalamet has actually become sort of a interesting figure to follow, and people not only from the film niche but also people interested in movies from general audience want to watch Timothée Chalamet movies because everybody hears about this great actor. What is he going to do next? Why is he so memorable? Why is he so much in the conversation of acting in movies? And you know, with these movies that I mentioned, I really realized that he was really good. You know, in Doom Part 2, I think it's his best acting role yet. It's my favorite at least. I think he does a complete 180 degree on the character of Paul Atreides from the start of the saga to the beginning. I mean, from the beginning to the end. He does very well there. And then I Complete Unknown, he really dives into the character of Bob Dylan so well, and he's definitely a great actor. You know, you have seen all of his stories of the method acting he does and how much he cares about film, and that is really cool to see. But then, guys, comes the topic of the video, comes one of my favorite movies of the year, as I said on my 2025 ranked movies, and I'm a little bit late to the conversation, so I'm not going to dive into how much I love this movie. I want to dive more into the importance of Timothée Chalamet for this movie. Because guys, let's be completely honest right here, Marty Supreme does not sell itself. It's a great movie and has a great script. But if Timothée Chalamet was not in it, it wouldn't be as a huge success as it is right now. You know, you could change him for any other actor and it wouldn't be the same. It wouldn't be the same performance, it wouldn't be the same story. Because the role was built for him, of course, but also the image of the movie and its success and its economical success and its critic success, and everybody watching it falls right into his hands. Like, here it is where it gets kind of interesting as to why Timothée Chalamet is a new movie star, dare I say. You know, he's not just a celebrity, he's not just an actor, he's an actual movie star. He's somebody that people go and want to watch, you know, just because it's him, just because his name is there. I don't know how much actors that happens with right now. You know, of course you have Tom Cruise, of course you have Leo DiCaprio. What I mean by that is that our Generation C, doesn't have a movie star, you know. And even like some people that you might say, well, they are kind of millennial generation that are movie stars, they are not that big. What I mean, you know, let me explain. Because of course they're movie stars, everybody's a movie star, but what I mean by a movie star is somebody that just by his name sells a movie immediately, regardless of anything, you know, like regardless of what genre, regardless of what kind of movie it is. And of course cinema is in a little bit of exponential decay right now. And of course, box office is not the same. For example, to compare the Wolf of Wall Street with Marty Supreme, you cannot really compare that because the Wolf of Wall Street did a lot of numbers and Marty Supreme is not even at 200 million right now. The point is here, guys, a lot of examples of actors that I can think of, like Ryan Gosling, like Ryan Reynolds, like Hugh Jackman, like Chris Evans, Chris Hemsworth, they're all movie stars. But at the same time, if you put them in an independent project, it won't be that successful, you know. And we can see that with many things like The Fall Guy, which was honestly a really sad flop for me. I really love Ryan Gosling, but you know, Timothée Chalamet, I feel like it's just getting to the point where he is that catalyzer, you know. And of course it also depends on the budget and how successful a movie can be. But Marty Supreme itself, the concept of a movie about a ping pong player, do you think it really sells that well? Like, let me ask you, like, have you seen how much The Smashing Machine did? Like, The Smashing Machine did not do that well. compared to Marty Supreme. And that's because I think of Timothée Chalamet. I'd say, well, it's Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Why isn't he that successful? That's a great question. That actually merits an analysis by itself. Why was this Magic Machine not successful? Well, Marty Supreme had a wonderful marketing campaign, and it was apparently self-financed by Timothée Chalamet because A24 don't have the money for such a big marketing budget. And honestly, like everything, the hype that he built towards this movie and all the collaborations with it immediately makes me believe in him and makes me see him as a movie star. Because when you go to watch Marty Supreme in theaters, the whole theater is packed. And one of the most interesting things that you can notice is that it's mostly young people, young audience, and that's something that I'm loving. And there's some statistic I saw somewhere that young people, like our generation, is the one that most goes to the movies, and that's so interesting. That's so cool because in such a decaying attention snap, we are still going to the movies. And Marty Supreme is an example because people showed up for Timothée Chalamet. People showed up for Marty Supreme because Timothée Chalamet is Marty Supreme. He was the one who made a rap song about it. He's the one that put himself in a Wheaties box. He's the one that sent a glove flying all over LA, the one who was promoting it all over the United States, New York, and stuff like that, and even internationally. He was the one who was holding screenings, the one who was assisting to screenings, and the one who came up top of the La Vegas sphere. You know, that was just generational, and I think that is exactly what a movie star is, you know, just risking it all and just because of your name selling a movie. And here's where like my analysis comes to fruition, because there's DiCaprio, there's Tom Cruise, there's Brad Pitt, and does Timothée Chalamet enter into that like sort of list of movie stars that we have right now? And honestly, it's very difficult to compare. You know, the box office used to be a bigger success back in the day, at least with them, but I believe that at least Timothée Chalamet is the closest thing we have to a movie star compared to them. And the craziest thing is that his career is just starting. He's only 30 years old and he has done such an amazing job, and he has not even hit his prime yet, but he might just win an Oscar. And that's crazy. That's crazy that Marty Supreme is not in his best movie. And that his best performance, we have not even imagined it yet. So guys, the truth is for me that Timothée Chalamet has the potential to be next big star. And at this very moment in time, seeing the success was the Marty Supreme campaign, everything he did for the movie, and the way he was able to promote it and make it grow, it just shows you that he is the reason why the movie succeeded, and that his name by itself is the one that sells the tickets. And potentially with his next movies, that is what will happen, that people will be going to it because of Timothée Chalamet's campaign, Timothée Chalamet's name, and not just because of the studio or the movie. And that's interesting because it's original movies that are getting this big results. Why? Because it's Timothée Chalamet and because it's recognizable names, and that's awesome. That's really awesome. So what's next for Timothée Chalamet? That's the question. I don't know. Potentially working with me in the future, I know, but it's still a little bit too early for that. The truth is, I think what's next is that he will just keep growing and growing and growing and growing until he reaches that level of stardom comparable to Brad Pitt, Tom Cruise, and Leo DiCaprio, and many other names. All I can say is that Marty Supreme is truly a great evidence for how good at acting and at marketing and as producer Timothée Chalamet is. How cool it is to see original films succeed within general audience, within niche fans, within film fans, and honestly just that you're hopeful for the future, seeing that there's movie stars like Timothée Chalamet, but there are rising movie stars like Jacob Elordi also out there, and that we have great acting destined for generations, and that is so cool. So with all of that being said, I hope that my analysis was clear. I honestly, like, I'm just saying my opinion here, you know, I'm just japping a little bit, and I hope that what I said is understandable for you and that you see my vision and understand why I said this. I appreciate you for watching this video. Comment down below. What do you think about Marty Supreme? What do you think about Timothée Chalamet? Do you think he's a superstar? Do you think he's still overrated? Just leave your opinion down below and I will read it and we can debate a little bit. I'll leave you here my socials, my Letterboxd, my Twitter, my TikTok, my Instagram. I have relived my TikTok finally, so I would appreciate for you to follow because I try there to share my personal projects, my personal journey. I'm trying to make my first official movie at 19 years old, so if you want to support there, go follow me in TikTok, please. I would appreciate it a lot for my school to actually want to fund my movie, okay? And now, with nothing left to say at you, I say goodbye. I am an aspiring filmmaker. I guess I'll see you in the movies.